one, I'm sure you remember, or maybe you don't remember, maybe you're just stumbling upon this video by accident. A few days ago, I asked for you guys to ask me questions over on Instagram and TikTok and here in the comments on YouTube, and I thought that I would answer them and you guys can get to know me a bit better. I'm sat in the spare room of my house, which is actually where I keep all my clothes. I will put in a clip here of what the setup actually looks like, and I thought that I would jump into some questions. You guys asked loads and loads. I have chosen 55. I'm not sure if we'll get through all 55, but 55 of the best ones. So I've got them all here. You guys asked such a huge variety of questions, from stuff about my family, which is to be expected, music and film and food, and there was actually quite a lot of Disney questions in there, which is funny because you guys obviously know that I love Disney, so you want to hear my opinion on that. Let's not waste too much time and let's just get straight into it. One that came up quite a lot is like, what do people wrongfully assume about me? But one thing that I can think of that like comes to mind straight away is often if people haven't like found me on social media or anything like that and they're just meeting me for the first time, people often are confused that I don't have a northern accent. Lots of people always think that I'm going to sound northern, like my family, but obviously I was born and raised in London, so I sound like I come from London. The next question I've got is, do I get recognised in public? And the answer to that is no, not really ever. Certain places in which I know that I'll be recognised more, for example, anything in and around an Oasis concert, of course. Secondly, wherever the girlies are. Places that I get recognised the most, if I do, is like an Urban Outfitters, an H&M, a Zara, places like that. I will see girls that follow me and they will be really friendly and come up and be really nice and tell me that. But when I'm walking out and about, no, really never. Maddie and Flory asked what inspired me to start vlogging. It's something that I've always wanted to do. I've tried it a few times over the years, but I never was good at it. I never was consistent enough. When I went to edit the videos, I hated myself. I hated the way I looked, the way I sounded. And another really huge part of it was that I was living with housemates and I never wanted to involve or impose my kind of social media, vlogging my life, talking about my life, taking pictures of my house on my friends' private space as well. But this year, it was mainly Callum who gave me a huge push and was like, you'd be really good, so I think that you should just give it a good go. And I have, and so far I've been absolutely loving it, and I hope that you're enjoying it. Another thing that inspires me, which leads on to the next question, what YouTubers inspire me, is that I was really used to the old YouTube way of daily or weekly vlogging, and it was very kind of fast-paced, humor-based, I guess. Lots of friendship groups and they're all vlogging. You know what I'm on about. But people in recent years, Emma Chamberlain, or specifically a huge inspiration of mine is Olivia Jade, a lot more kind of low-key and down to earth and slower paced, and that is kind of what pushed me to want to start doing it. A few of you asked questions about my family, so let's just stay on that for a bit. What was the best part of my childhood and why? And I would definitely say it was the huge range of things that I got to experience, all the traveling I got to do and the places I got to see. But mainly when I think about my childhood, most of the memories that come up for me are spent outdoors. Summers in Ireland with my grandmother, going to dairy farms and being outside and playing, the smell of the burning turf. My other grandparents in Norfolk, and my mum loves animals. She always has. I always had pets growing up, like dogs and cats and guinea pigs. And I tried to convince her at one point to get me a snake, and we got to the reptile shop and then she was like, no, I can't do this, which is fair enough. I think it was when the guy at the reptile shop said, oh, they're really great pets, but just so you know, they're master escape artists. And I could see her face thinking, I don't really want a snake getting loose and being somewhere in our house. And I'm kind of staying on that. Another question was, if I had a chance to go back in time to one of my own personal moments, what would it be? And I think it would be, Well, there's a couple. There's one which is that I would love to go back and redo my GCSE years, because I failed so miserably at my GCSEs. I was capable of doing a lot better, so I would have kind of knuckled down a bit more. In my grandmother's house in Ireland with like my cousins and us all being there together, they were so special to me, and yeah, if I could go back and relive them for one moment, I would. A more serious question is it hard being the oldest daughter, and do you ever feel left out of anything? Say that often I'm the only girl at the table. I don't share the same interests that my brothers share with each other and with my cousins, whether that's like gaming or football. Like, being the eldest daughter is a universal experience for any eldest daughters out there. You always feel a sense of responsibility for your family. You always feel a slightly more close to a mother figure than a sibling figure. You want to make sure that everybody is like okay and emotionally supported, and of course I'm the one that remembers everybody's birthdays. Everybody talks about your dad, but how much of an inspiration has your mum been to you growing up? And I really love this question because I get so many comments with people being like, you've got such a cool parent. And I'm like, parents. Definitely had a mum who like really drilled into me kindness and compassion and empathy to different, you know, to all different people from different places. I have a memory of my mum, kind of iconic, having the most incredible blonde hair extensions, and all summer she'd said to me, I'm not swimming in the pool with you, I'm not getting my hair wet, I'll come up to here because my extensions can't go in the pool. I can't remember what it was, but something had crawled into the pool in the middle of the night and was drowning, and I was like, Mum, there's a creature and it's drowning in the pool. And without hesitation she dived headfirst into the pool, clothes and hair extensions still intact, and got herself soaking just to save it. Next question is, when did I realise that my dad was a rock star? I think how I processed it in my mind is that I knew that my dad was a musician. I knew that my dad did music. I knew that he loved music. He was always playing the guitar around the house, and I knew that. When you're growing up, you don't see your situation as the anomaly. You see it as the standard until you meet other people and you realise that's not the case. So I don't think I really ever had a moment where I was like, wow, my dad's so different. It was mainly like, oh wow, all these other parents are so different to my parents. But yeah, I've spoken about it before. My parents did a really good job of making me understand that, like, because the situation is different doesn't mean you're better than anybody else. And then I guess, kind of coming on from that, somebody asked, do you like the term Nepo kid, or does it annoy you? And I would say that I'm completely neutral to it. I don't really hear it. I don't hear it as an insult because I don't choose to feel insulted by my own existence, if that makes sense. So I just hear it as a neutral term. It doesn't annoy me. I don't find it a positive. I don't find it a negative. If somebody says to me, you're a Nepo baby or you're a Nepo kid, I know what they're trying to say is my reality. You come from a family of people who are famous, and that's not something I can argue with. So how did you and each of your best friends meet? I've got 5 best girlfriends. Scarlett, my best friend Scarlett, we met when we were 8 or 9 at school, and we kind of clicked really instantly. She was my best friend like straight away. So we've been friends for like 18 years or something like that. It's one of the most incredibly inspiring people in my life. She's so talented. She's an artist, and she's so talented and so funny and so switched on, and has always been like that. You know, there's not a moment in which she's blossomed, because she's always been that incredible. The Scarlett that you meet now is the Scarlett that I met when I was like 9. Gabby, me and Gabs met on a dance floor nearly 10 years ago, and like went for a coffee, and then we went for drinks, and then we went for dinner, and then we went on holiday, and then we never came home for like a month. She's the first person I met that I was like, wow, like, where have you been? We've always felt like, we've specifically always felt like 2 halves of the same whole, in a way that Scarlett challenges me and inspires me. Gabby kind of completes me. The next 3 are all in one little group, and that is Molly, Ellie and Olivia, and they were all the 3 girls that were on my Cape Cod vlog a few weeks ago. Now, interestingly, I met these 3 incredible women through Callum, my boyfriend. They went to school with Callum. They've been his best friends for the longest time. A lot of people have a lot of negativity around like female best friends and men having women as their friends. And to me, I think if I started dating and I met a guy and he didn't have any female friends, I think I would find that a huge red flag, because to me it would show that you don't value women in any way other than as a romantic interest. You don't want women in your life because you find them funny or you find them smart, or, you know, you don't see them as a value. I'm really lucky that Callum was so close with 3 incredible women who now I'm lucky enough to call my best friends. A next question, which is a bit rogue, but I found really interesting, is which one of Callum's plays that he's been in is my favourite, and is that also his favourite? It's not. We have 2 different favourite ones. His favourite, I think, that he's ever been in is Cabaret, and my favourite that he's ever been in is Ghosts. My favourite is because 99% of the characters Callum plays, even if they're troubled in some way, they require a lot of empathy from you. You want them to do well, you feel sorry for them, you root for them. However, in Ghosts, he played a completely unlikable character, somebody that I didn't empathise with, that I wasn't rooting for, that I really didn't like. The character he's played that was the least like him. I was like really, really proud of that performance of his. If I could interview anyone for a podcast, who would it be? And it would be Tom and Dom from The Rest Is History. The podcast wouldn't be very interesting though, I don't think. It would just be like me with a notepad reeling off all the different questions that I've ever had to ask them from listening to every single one of their podcasts. It would be specific questions about specific points in history, maybe a tiny moment that they'd glazed over or something, and a question that I've been like, oh, I wish I could ask them that about this. I wonder what their thoughts are on this specific person. So it would just be. Now moving on to probably my favourite topic, which is films, books and theatre. My favourite. I'm nothing if not a consumer of media. The first one, really easy. What's my top 4 on Letterboxd? Let's get it up. Here is my Letterboxd. It says 26-year-old ogre enthusiast, so I'm sure you can guess what film was going to be in there. But my top 4 are Marie Antoinette by Sofia Coppola. I mean, like, these are stills from the film, and it's probably one of the most beautiful things of all time. My second film is Shrek 2. I love all the Shrek films, but Shrek 2 is the best. It is the best, and this is without a doubt the truth, the best sequel film ever made. One of the only sequels which is far better than the original. It's just the best. I could watch that film every single day. I could watch it every single day. I would never get bored of watching Shrek 2. My third film is Cinema Paradiso. I was in a foreign cinema club at school, and on a Wednesday after school, we sat in our French classroom and we watched foreign films. But it was the first film I watched that I was like, oh, it's really beautiful, and it just is like such a pinnacle of cinema. My fourth film, which is really different to all the rest, is Vice, Adam McKay. It's got Christian Bale in it, and it's just like, he's my favourite actor of all time. That might be a question coming up. If it is, Christian Bale is my favourite actor of all time. Just a great film. I love Adam McKay. I love the way he directs. I love all of his films, but Vice is definitely my favourite of those ones. I'm really interested in politics. I'm really interested in history. It's really fast-paced. It's really well done. What is my favourite book and what's my favourite film I've watched this year? My favourite book I've read this year is Yesteryear. I read that so quickly. I read that in like 3-4 days, which is really, really quick for me. I know some people can sit down on the sofa and read an entire book front to back in one go. I can't do that. My brain does not let me like focus for that amount of time. But I read it so quickly because it kind of had all the components of the things I'm loving at the moment. I'm really loving thrillers and like books that are making you think like, what's really going on here? I love a book with an unreliable narrator, and that definitely had elements of that. I also love the commentary on the like trad wife social media thing. I thought that was great. But that's a huge recommendation for me. Hard with my favourite film I've watched this year because I've watched so many, but probably one I watched right at the start of the year. I loved The Bone Temple. like, this is to me such a hard and like really poignant question, and that's Shrek 2 or B movie, and that's really hard for me. But obviously Shrek 2 wins out, but I do want to give a big sort of like silver medal to B movie. Favorite Hamilton song? That's a hard one. The last 50 seconds of Non-Stop. Those specific 50 seconds, I feel like I could levitate out of my seat like this. Whilst we're talking about music, let's get onto the music section. Which artist are you listening to the most lately? Definitely Olivia Rodrigo, because her album's just come out and I'm absolutely running that shit into the ground. It's a great time to be a girl that loves pop with a hint of indie. One song I would never get tired of, I can't say that. I was about to say Accidentally in Love by Counting Crows, but that is in the Shrek 2 soundtrack, which is like a mental thing to say, because then everything in this video becomes very Shrek 2. So let's not do that, although. Do you have a favourite Oasis track, and does it mean something to you personally? None of them really mean anything to me personally, like individually. But there's not a song specifically that's my favourite. My top 3 at the moment would be Married with Children, Girl in the Dirty Shirt. Actually, at the moment, Mucky Fingers. Do you know what? I've kind of realised, though, when I've just said that all 3 of those are kind of about an annoying girl. What album can I listen to from start to finish? No skips. This year, I'm going to say this year because otherwise it gets too hard. It was the Wuthering Heights album by Charlie XCX. I love that album, and it was a great album. It was a great put it on from the start to the end. Narratively, the songs all made sense together. Now onto Disney, because of course there was loads of Disney questions. Loads. Which Disney park is my favourite? And why? And do I have one that I really want to go to? My favourite Disney park is probably Hollywood Studios in Disney World. That park specifically is my favourite. It's got all my favourite rides on it, like Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, Rise of the Resistance. One place that I'd love to go is Disney Sea in Tokyo. God, I'd love to go there. My favourite Disney princess is Aurora, Sleeping Beauty. I love her so much. I think I loved her the most when I was growing up because of her little cottage in the woods with all the animals. I loved her outfit and I loved her hair. Favourite food at Disney? Maple popcorn from the Canada Pavilion and Epcot. It's probably the best popcorn I've ever had in my life. I love popcorn. I would have popcorn every single day if I could, and I categorically usually don't like sweet popcorn. I only like salted or buttered popcorn, but their maple popcorn is incredible. And now a kind of rogue one, but fave hiking destination, and anywhere really. I love Wales for hiking in general because you've got, up in the north, you've got Eryri. You've also got Bana Brycheiniog as well, with Pen y Fan, which is an amazing hike. But Wales is definitely the best place for hiking. And then in England, it would be the Lake District. Let's kind of move on to another one of my favourite topics, which is food. Some of these are some of the most interesting ones. So my favourite form of potato is mashed, and then it's baked. And like a lowly third is chips. I'm not that arsed about chips. But if I had to get rid of one, would I get rid of pickled onion, Monster Munch, or Guinness? Now, this is really hard for me. The thing is, I think I would be more happy to have something like a pickled onion Space Raider and get rid of Monster Munch than have to change to a different stout. So I think I'd have to get rid of Monster Munch. Basic, but your go-to order at any pub. On a normal day, it would be a single vodka soda, no lime. I don't like the lime. It gets very acidic to me after a while. But a single vodka soda, you're basically having a shot of vodka and then a cup of water. So you're hydrating yourself as you're drinking the alcohol. So to me, it's the perfect drink. Have I ever had a vegan phase, and why? So I did have a vegan phase. When I was a fresher at uni in my first year, when I first lived there, I was vegan. Okay, the good thing to say is I was already vegetarian. So I've been vegetarian from when I was 8 to when I was 22. big time. I was vegetarian all those years, but when I was 18, I became vegan. It lasted about 3 weeks, and I actually found it really easy and I really liked it, but I got drunk and I came home and I had cheese bites from McDonald's, and I woke up in the morning and I saw the cheese bites package strewn across my bed, and I thought, fuck, what have I done? And then I went downstairs and I made myself a cheese toastie. Favorite comfort meal? If I'm ordering food, it would be anything Vietnamese. I really love Vietnamese, or Thai maybe. But comfort meal that I'm cooking for myself, pastina, maybe orzo cooked in chicken broth with some butter, with some parmesan, lots of cracked black pepper. That to me is like a hug in a bowl. This is the best question, I think. If my personality was a drink, what would it be? And I got the perfect answer for this. It would be a black velvet, because it's one of my favourite drinks, but I think that is me as a drink. If you didn't know, a black velvet is half Guinness, half champagne. I mean, look no further for her. Is there a language I'd like to learn? I'd love to know Japanese. It's because I think it's such an incredible language. It's also so different. Yeah, I think Japanese. What's the weirdest compliment I've ever received? Do you remember it? Yeah, I do. Somebody told me, a boy once told me, a boy that I was dating no less, told me that I had a very handsome nose. My favourite perfume at the moment is Master Cedar by the Perfumer's Story. I love this perfume. It smells, oh, it's so spicy and warm. This is my favourite one, and I love the bottle. It's so weighty and like, it looks really good on a side table. Is there a trend that everybody loved but I secretly hated? I'm not a really secret hater. I'm quite a public hater. I really hated that trend when people had brunette hair and they dyed chunks of their hair blonde. I didn't like that. Have I ever had any cats? And how many? I've had lots of cats. I had cats growing up with my mum and my dad. Always had cats growing up. I'm such a cat person. I'm a dog and a cat person, but actually very excitingly, a bit of little information for you is that me and Callum are planning on getting a cat. I'm planning on getting a kitten towards the end of the year, so we're both very excited about it. We're both people that have grown up in pet-filled houses, and us living together, the house just was really empty and really silent without having a little creature in here. Okay, now let's finish up with the completely random section. These are ones that I couldn't like fit into anything. But out of all the 6 wives of Henry VIII, which one would you most like to be and why? And that is Anne of Cleves. We have a tattoo tour with all the explanations. I've got 2, I'll get these ones up. I'll just show you these. I've got 2 tattoos on my wrist that say SG and DG, and that's for Sonny Gallagher and Donovan Gallagher. I have a lightning bolt on my rib, which I'm a huge Bowie fan. I'm actually not joking, that's what that was. On my like side of my bum, I guess, I've got Nin, because I'm named after an author called Anais Nin. The back of my neck I've got a horseshoe, big old horseshoe, and that is because I love horses and they're good luck. What's the number 1 thing on your bucket list at the moment? I would love to go to China. I'd love to go see the Great Wall of China. I would love to travel China. My dad is banned for life, an enemy of the people, I actually think it is. So I'm not sure if that will affect me. It's probably something I've got to look into with the embassy or something like that, trying to get a visa. I'm not sure it'll be the easiest thing, but I would love to go to China. That's definitely something on my bucket list. Well, I think that's everything. Thank you so much if you sent a question in. They were so good. There was so many of them. There was genuinely like over 200. These videos, like sitting down and talking to you, are some of like my favorite. Like this has been my favorite video that I've filmed, because getting to like talk directly to you is such a great experience. If you have any ideas of other videos like this where I could sit down and talk to you, it just feels really nice to feel like we're just having a chat. So if you like the video, don't forget to, I'm going to be a YouTuber, like the video and subscribe, and I hope I'll see you next week in next week's video. Lots of love, guys. Bye.